Hawk fans, what's going on? We got another amazing week, awesome week. UFC 314 in Miami. Fucking sick card. Let's get to it. We're going to give our picks this week, and we've been doing very good. We were 10-2 2 weeks ago for UFC Mexico, and we were 8-4 last week, including an underdog pick of plus 650. So we're going to hit it again. We're going to make some money together. Let's do it. First fight on the early prelims, we got Nora Cornell versus Haley Cowan. Now, we are going Haley Cowan because fuck the French. And I'm kidding. Sort of, not really. But, just for the record, let's go over their previous fights and what they've done lately. They're both coming off of a loss, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Nora lost to Jacqueline Cavalcanti in late 2024. Haley, her last fight was in 2023. It was also a loss. I mean, not much thought here. We're going Haley Cowan. We're going with the over. It's going to be 3 rounds of the Americans beating the shit out of the French. Let's get next in line. We got Tresean Gore. He's going up against Marco Tulio. He's on a good winning streak. Only one loss on his record. Last loss was in 2018. He wasn't even in the UFC yet. So he's doing pretty well. Let's go to Tresean Gore. Let's see what he's done lately. Won 2 in a row against Josh Friend and Antonio Trocoli. Lost against Brian Battle and Cody Brundage. Normally, I would pick, in this situation, I would pick Marco Tulio, but it's tough. Tresean Gore can't finish the fight at any time. He does have that power. He's also won a good amount of fights by submission. So we're not picking a fighter here. Instead, what we're doing is we're going with the under. We're going to go under 1.5. Currently at plus 115 odds. Pretty good odds if you ask me. We're going to stay away from the fighters on this one. Next fight, we got Sue Mudaerji versus Mitch Raposo. Mitch Raposo coming off a loss against Andre Lima by split decision. That was at UFC 302. And then a few wins back-to-back against Justin Valentin and Tyler Smith. So let's go to Sue. He is coming off of 3 losses back-to-back, but all of them are against, pretty notable fighters. Charles Johnson, Tim Elliott, Matt Schnell. Prior to that, he was on a win streak. I think he's going to get back on the win column this week. We're going Sue Mudaerji. This one, I think, might be by decision, but we're not going to take over-under here. We're just going to go straight up on the fighter. Next, we have Cedric Dumas versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. And then Cedric Dumas coming off of a win against Dennis Tilolin, and he was supposed to fight earlier this year against Zach Reese, but that got scrapped. In any case, his fight against Dennis, he did win by decision. Michael, He is coming off of 3 losses, all against notable fighters. His last win was against Chidi Njokwani, who I believe fought recently. I'd have to double check on that. But anyways, his 3 losses were against Michel Pereira, Kevin Holland. Those 2 were by finishes, and he also lost against Shara Magomedov back in 2024 in August, and that one was by decision. So he is on a skid. He does need, basically, he has to win this fight if he wants to continue in the UFC. And, you know, I'm more confident on Cedric Dumas winning this fight, but only issue is, I think Michael might be putting in all he's got in this next fight. As I said, he's on a 3-fight losing streak, and if he loses one more, who knows about his UFC future. So I'm feeling a finish here. Current over-under is 1.5. And I think I'm going to go with the under here. I think there's going to be a finish. Most likely Cedric will finish Michael, but to be safe, we're just going to take the under here, under 1.5. If it goes to 2.5, even better for you guys, but currently it's at 1.5, and we're going with that under. All right, moving on to the regular prelims. That was the last of the early prelims. We got Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. First fight on the prelims. Darren Elkins is coming off of 2 wins against TJ Brown, Daniel Pineda. Lost against Jonathan Pierce prior to that. And then Julian Erosa has also been on a 2-fight win streak. He won both of them by guillotine choke in round 1 against Christian Rodriguez and Ricardo Ramos. Prior to that, he had 2 losses against Fernando Padilla and Alex Caceres. This one's going to be a good one. I'm feeling Julian Erosa here. Let's see if we can do something with the over-under. I'm going Julian Erosa by finish. I'm not sure what round this would be in, but over-under is 2.5, so I feel pretty good taking the under on this fight too. So we can go Julian Erosa and the under on this fight. Right. Next up on the prelims, we got Jim Miller. He's going up against Chase Hooper. This should be a fun one. Chase Hooper, he's on a win streak. Most recent win against Clay Guida. That was in December of 2024, just a few months ago. He did win by armbar. And then Jim motherfucking Miller. He is coming off a loss and a win. He lost to Bobby Green. That was at UFC 300. And he did beat Damon Jackson by guillotine more recently. That was in November of 2024. So this one it's tough to call. I want to take a look here what we have. Chase Hooper's at -800 currently. Jim Miller at +575. Over under 1.5. I'm just trying to enjoy this fight, to be honest. I don't like anything here. that we can make money on. I just want to enjoy this fight, but I do have to, you know, give some pick. Hopefully we can call it right. I'm going to go over 1.5 here. That's at minus 170. I never like to bet against Jim Miller. He's one of those underdogs that just fucking come in and, you know, get a knockout win or something. And Chase Hooper being relatively young, if it does go past the second round, I think Chase Hooper might have that advantage there. And it's, you know, odds are too high to take Chase Hooper too, because, you know, it's a minus 800. That's a lot of money to be risking. So we're just gonna go over 1.5 here. Keep it at that. All right. Next up on, we got Yan Xiaonan. She's going up against Virna Jandiroba. Virna Jandiroba is on a good fight win streak against Angela Hill, Marina Rodriguez, Lupita Godinez, and Amanda Lemos. She beat all of them, including a submission win against Amanda Lemos. Yan Xiaonan, she did lose against Zhang Wei Li, UFC 300. That was for the belt. And she beat Tabitha Ricci in November by decision. We're going Yan Xiaonan here. I think she's just the better fighter currently. Virna might get her in a submission or something, but if I have to pick, I mean, Yan Xiaonan is the better fighter, as I said, and she's an underdog. So we're going Yan Xiaonan at plus 125 currently. Those are obviously subject to change. Over under, we're not going to do anything on this fight. We're just sticking with Yan Xiaonan to win. All right. Moving on to the last fight on the prelims. Should be another good one. Danny Gay versus Sean Woodson. Woodson his record is 13-1 with a draw. If you don't count the draw in between, he's on a 6-fight winning streak. He did have that split decision draw against Luis Saldana. That was back in 2022. But he's beat some notable fighters, Charles Jourdain being one of them, then Alex Caceres and Fernando Padilla. We're going to move on to Danny Gay. Lost his last 2 fights, one against Diego Lopez and one against Leroy Murphy. His last win was early 2024 against Andre Fili. There's another one of those fights. It's gonna be a banger fight. I'm sticking with over here. I think it's gonna be 3 rounds of just a banger ass fight. You know, I don't think anyone's getting finished. I think it'll go to decision. Let's take a look what we have at the current odds. Not too bad. Minus 250 for over 2.5. Reasonably so. I don't see either of these guys getting finished before that. So let's just take the over 2.5 here. All right. Moving on to the main card. We got Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes lost 4 in a row. You know, he did win his last 2, but they were against Anthony Smith and Dustin Jacoby. Respect both those guys, but they are in the later stages of their career. So, I mean, we're not going to give Dominic Reyes too much credit there. He's also towards the end of his career. Nikita is coming off of 3 wins in a row. They do have a common opponent here, which is Ryan Spann. Nikita beat Ryan Spann by triangle back in 2023. And I believe Dominic Reyes had gone finished also. Yeah, it was by knockout in the first round against Ryan Spann. This is an easy pick. I'm going Nikita Krylov here. His current odds are at, let's take a look, minus 185. You're getting very good odds here. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up closing at like minus 240 or somewhere around there. So minus 185, that's a good pick. Next up, we got my man, Bryce Mitchell. Fuck you, haters. I don't give a shit what you think. Bryce Mitchell is going to tear shit up. He's going to win this fight with the help of the one and only Savior, Jesus Christ. Gene Silva is going to eat shit. I don't care how many fights he's won in a row. I don't care. I mean, if you look at Bryce Mitchell's record, he only has 2 losses, and guess who it's against? Yes, he got finished by Josh Emmett. It was a bad finish, but he followed it up with a win against Kron Gracie. Finished Kron Gracie in early round 3. And his loss prior to that was Ilya Topuria. So we're going Bryce Mitchell, and honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if he gets a finish here. I don't know which round that would be in. Let's see what the over-unders are over here. We got 2.5. We're going to stay away from the over-under, even though I think it will be a finish. But we're just going to go with Bryce Mitchell here. And he is currently at plus 210. Of course, different bookmakers have different odds, you know. They're all going to be around the same. But currently what I'm looking at here is plus 210. And we're going with that. Next up. And yeah, if any of you have questions about it, I don't give a fuck what Bryce Mitchell said. He can say whatever he wants. That's how it goes. If you don't like it, turn off your TV. Stop crying. Next up, we got Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Not Patricio. He's not American. It's Patricio. Sorry. Patricio Pitbull. He is making his UFC debut coming out of Bellator, which is, you know, I'm not going to disrespect any other promotions, but it's his first fight in the UFC, and I think he's going to get a real understanding of how it goes here against Yair Rodriguez. Yair Rodriguez is going to win this fight. He lost his last 2 against Brian Ortega and Alex Volkanovski, so we're not going to judge him on those because he's also beat Brian Ortega previously, and he beat Josh Emmett, both by finishes. So we're going Yair Rodriguez here. I don't think anyone's getting finished here. It could be, but Yair is currently at minus 200. Very good odds if you're trying to place some bet on there. So yeah, moving on to the next one, which is the co-main events. Ooh, this one's going to be a banger. We got Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Paddy undefeated ever since he got into the UFC. Last fight, Bobby Green, and then beat Tony Ferguson. But, we can't give him too much credit there. Tony Ferguson was already on the decline. Beat Jared Gordon. Well, that Jared Gordon fight, who knows? It was kind of a bad decision in my opinion, but it is what it is. Prior to that, beat Jordan Levitt. So, he's making a name for himself here. He's going up against Michael Chandler, who has fought against basically a lot of big name fighters. He's fought against everybody. He lost against Oliveira and Dustin Poirier, beat Ferguson. Then another couple losses. But all of his opponents have been, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira. These aren't nobodies or up and comers. These guys are established veteran fighters that are at the top of the division. So, we're not picking a fighter here because we still need to see at least I still need to see what Paddy Pimblett actually has in his game. So, he's been winning, but I haven't really seen everything he has to bring. So normally I would say Michael Chandler is easily going to win this fight, but I can't say that because, I need to see more of him. We're going over 1.5 here at -175. We're not picking a fighter. Which is good because now you get to actually enjoy the fight. Just hope that it goes past 2.5 minutes in the second round. Then you can start enjoying the fight. All right. Main event, we got Alex Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Diego's last loss was in 2023 against Movsar Evloev and hasn't lost a fight since. Fought people like Pat Sabatini, Dan Ige, Brian Ortega was his last one. Then we got Alex Volkanovski. His only losses really were Topuria and Makhachev. Makhachev was at lightweight. We can't judge him on that. Ilya did knock him out. It was a bad knockout. I see why people are leaning Diego Lopez here. They think Alex Volkanovski might be washed up or this, that. I don't see it that way, but I understand why people might see it that way. We're going over 2.5 on this one. Currently, it's at 2.5. I would probably get my bets in as soon as possible before that changes. I don't see that staying at 2.5 by the come Saturday. I don't want to pick a fighter on this one. It's tough. I never want to go against Volkanovski. But I would be biased if I pick Volkanovski here, so I'm staying away. Just over 2.5, that's it. And that's it for this card. It's going to be a fucking crazy card. Don't miss it. And if you disagree or agree or anything, just comment down below. I'll maybe do a live stream in the future at answering your guys' questions or comments. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the fights this week. I'll try to do a quick recap right now, just in case, you guys forgot some of the stuff. I'm just going to say what I picked in this, on this card. So first fight, we're going Haley Cowan to win with the over. We're not going with Tresean Gore. We're going under on that fight. I believe it's 1.5. Next, we're going with Sue Mudaerji to win the fight. We're going under on the Cedric Dumas versus Michael Oleksiejczuk fight. We're going Julian Erosa with the under. We're going over 1.5 on Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper. We're going Yan Xiaonan to win. We're going over on the Danny Gay versus Sean Whitson fight. Nikita Krylov is going to win. Money line. Bryce Mitchell, money line. Then we're going Yair Rodriguez. Then we're going over on Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett fight. That's, I believe it's at 1.5. Let me double check again. Yeah, currently at over 1.5, minus 175 odds. And then main event, we're going over on Diego Lopez versus Alex Volkanovski. We're not betting on either fighter on the main event or the co-main event. So we're just taking over there. And as I said, it's over 2.5, and current odds for that are minus 265. All right. If I decide to maybe make a parlay, I'll definitely post a video about it before Saturday comes about. Maybe like a 3 or 4-way parlay. I'll make one of those. But these are, don't try to parlay all of these guys. Come on. I mean, unless you're only putting like $5 or something, go ahead. But don't try to put any serious money and parlay all 12 of these fights, because that's, you know, it's too much of a long shot. This is just overall separate bets to try to win some money. And as I said, if I do come up with a 3 or 4-way parlay, maybe 5, I don't know, I'll definitely post them on here so that way you could, you know, win some money. We can win some money together. That's it for today, guys. Enjoy the fights. Make sure you guys have a good party going on, or if you guys decide to watch it at a bar, make sure it's a fun one, because there's going to be some action in this one. You don't want to be around boring-ass people. Be around good people. Enjoy these fights, and let's see how we do at the end of the weekend. Enjoy your day.